What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 14 of Park to Prem here with Nottingham Forest. Today is a huge day. It's the start of our Premier League campaign. And well, to kick things off, we're taking on a Wolverhampton Wanderers team predicted to finish in the top 7. Yes, a Wolverhampton Wanderers team that won the Europa League last year. They're quite good. So this should be an interesting little test for us to flex our muscles and see how we get on against some pretty stiff opposition. Of course, it's been a few days since we were last here. I wasn't feeling too well at the end of last week. I had a long pre-season to get through, lots of planning to get through, but we're back now and the daily videos resume for the foreseeable future until the end of this season, where hopefully we're still going to be a Premier League club. I feel like that has to be the aim this year. The board, they're on board with that. They're not too ambitious. Avoid relegation. I feel like that's a pretty good aim for us to strive towards this year. And, well, you might have caught it actually on this screen here. I'm rethinking how I want to approach things this season, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Before we talk about tactics, let's talk about the exciting thing of any new season, transfers, everyone. And in fact, we need to go back to the end of last season where I made a few late deals before we can go forward. So let's talk about the players that we signed. A few of these were players that we were looking at previously, and I'm pretty excited about them. So Luis Navio has joined us from I think it's Vitoria. I think that's the name that the kind of Portuguese club have. He looks exceptional. 18 years old. Bit of a bad personality. He's a mercenary, everyone. But as far as mercenaries go, he's very, very good. Hasn't got the best jumping reach. Not the tallest centre-back by any means. But at 18 years old, hopefully he can grow. And I think when you look at him at a glance, for £1.1 million, Luis Navio, he just represents really good value for money. Of course, we have got a couple of other youngsters who have joined us, including Kursat Irk, who is a Turkish right winger. We've signed this guy for just shy of £10 million, so a lot of expectations on him. But I think he looks very, very good. My scouts like his potential. I'm going to trust the scouts, and hopefully he's going to be a good little option for us this year. Another youngster that we picked up is Sickinger. Yeah, that's a sick name, isn't it? Literally sick. He's 18 years old, signed from Augsburg, who were relegated from the Bundesliga last year, and he looks like a really good box-to-box midfielder for me. I think last year there was a bit of a joke that I would just convert players to box-to-box midfielders. You can't look at this guy, who is naturally a centre-back, and tell me that he looks like a centre-back. He just doesn't. He's a box-to-box midfielder, everyone. The conversion process begins now. Of course, a couple of other players who I talked about just last episode have actually joined us. Finn Amlo joined us for what at the time was a club record fee, £23 million from Augsburg, hoping he's going to be very good. Sadly for us, he's at the Olympic Games right now, so he can't make his debut today, the giant German. One player who will be making their debut today, though, is Mateus Fernandes, who we have signed from Sao Paulo. The former Barcelona man, 30 years old, little bit of experience in the team, really, really well-rounded. Just a super complete midfielder, which is something that was on my shopping list for the year. You can see a few players have left us, no one of real note, to be fair, before the season ticked over, but with £71 million worth of sales this season, there has been a few players of note leave. So let's talk about those players. And this is a sale that I don't love, because I think he's really good, but I couldn't say no. Keanu Hoover has left us to go to China for £47 million. Let's be frank, he was a great player for us, but £47 million for him, I couldn't say no. It was silly money. It's allowed us to reinvest, allowed me to spend a bit more than I otherwise would have been able to spend. I think it's just a very, very good deal for the club. A couple of more players who I talked about last episode as players I thought would be leaving are the French duo. So Riyad Talbi has left us to go to Frankfurt for £13.5 million. And another player who left us, if we just look here, is Palembi. Bit of a weird move, this one. He's gone to Rotherham in the Championship for £10 million. I don't know how Rotherham have £10 million. Have they had like a sugar daddy takeover? It feels like a lot of money. They've had a local businessman take over. Anyway, they've been promoted from League One to the Championship. They've signed him. He's their key player. We signed him for £6 million. We've sold him on for almost double the money we paid. It's just a good little bit of business for the club, as far as I'm concerned. He wasn't very happy at the team. Injury prone, had a good year with us, but I wasn't convinced about his longer term Premier League potential. Anyway, a load of kind of youngsters that weren't really going to make it at us have left the club on freebies, as well as a whole host of loans. I think the most notable here is probably Akamash, who of course we signed last year from Barcelona, I think it was. He hasn't set the world alight. In the end, I decided to loan him out just to hopefully continue on his development, but there are a few players here who we will keep a close eye on. Anyway, on the ins, £52 million spent with this new season. Of course, that doesn't include the crazy amount of money spent on AMLO, but looking at the players we've brought in here, the first is Mej Doctor. I might just call him the Doctor, everyone. He's a Czech international, 18 years young, looks absolutely superb. Naturally a left attacking mid. That's very weird. He is a centre mid. You can try and tell me otherwise. He is a centre mid, everyone. But at 18 years old, tremendous potential to be able to sign this kind of player for less than £12 million. I think it's a little bit of a no-brainer. So, welcome, Doctor. Hopefully you're going to be very good for us. And, well, we brought in some other youngsters who I don't think will have the same first-team impact right away, but longer term I'm kind of excited for. We've got here Luis Miguel Bermudez, who has joined us from Pachuca, I believe that's how you say it, in Mexico, for 600k. He's got a little bit of potential about him. We'll keep a close eye on him. Another player who's joined us, who is a bit of a wide midfielder, coming from the Americas as well, actually. It's Avelander. I've definitely not. Avelander? Answers on a junior. Maybe we'll just, multiple juniors in this Park to Prem series, it turns out. Either way, we've signed him from Peru for 900k. He's actually listed as one of our hot prospects. He's already capped at international level for Peru. I'm very, very excited. He looks tremendous. Anyway, alongside those youngsters, a few more significant first-team players joining us. Chris Molyneux joined us as a bit of competition in the goalkeeping spots. 23 years old, English, former under-20 international in goal. I think between him and Carl Stokes, we've got two pretty good goalkeepers who are going to push each other hard. Of course, with Brexit, there is a demand and a need to have English players in our team. Chris Molyneux for 6.25 million. Feels like quite a good deal. Another couple of English players joining us as well. We've got here Shane Antoine, who has joined us from Chelsea on loan for the year. A little bit of coverage, really. A little bit of strength in depth. He's a wonder kid with some good potential. No idea if we'll ever be able to sign him permanently, but I needed a little bit more backup in the defensive department. And this was a really good loan deal that, even though I don't like loans, I was more than willing to go for. Anyway, the last signing we've made, 32.5 million. I think I talked about this one last episode. I actually pulled out of a deal and then went back in for him after the Hoover sale. Owen Ricketts, 23 years old, former England under-21 international with 31 appearances at that level. And I've signed him for a club record fee of £32.5 million. That's a lot of money, isn't it? I'm really hoping that him and Smith in the middle are really going to kick it off. I think they could be quite complementary for one another. I mean, when you compare him to our former best player, Adrian Smith, I don't know, they look complementary, don't they, the 22 and 23-year-old players. But in the end, Owen Ricketts, new club record fee. I'm going to need him to hit the ground running, but I think he looks tremendous. Can play in the middle as an advanced playmaker. Mazzala as well on attack or support is another role that I've looked at and decided he could probably do for us. And it's pretty difficult to sign good young English players for a reasonable sum of money. I'll let you guys decide whether or not the fee paid is reasonable. But I think for us, he's a big upgrade and yeah, another great player to add to the first team. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, I have been thinking about things tactically going into this year. If you watched last year's Park to Prem, you'll know that at Towler we kind of went into the Premier League gung-ho, and it didn't really work. And I don't want to say I had a change of heart, but given the fact, I had a weekend off, I was doing the Streamer Showdown, playing multiplayer Football Manager, approaching things very differently tactically. I kind of came back in and thought to myself, right, if I was sat down, with no previous kind of tactical ideas, what would I do with this squad that I have now? And this is what I came up with, a 4-3-3. It's nothing too crazy, it's nothing too flashy, but the three at the back does scare me. I feel like three at the back in Football Manager, it worked great in the Championship where I can afford to throw men forward. And who knows, against, Premier League teams who are slightly weaker, maybe when we're at home, I will go for this three at the top system. We will really go for games where I think we have a reasonable chance of getting a result. But you know what? Between this system here and the other one, I just don't think defensively it's going to be good enough against the big boys, the heavy hitters. And it might sound weird a bit to, I guess, suppose, put Wolverhampton Wanderers in that bracket, but they won the Europa League last year. I've got to show them some respect. And we are adapted and set up in a way where I can go between a 3 at the back and a 4 at the back relatively easily. Now, unfortunately for us, Piotr is suspended for today's game. But for this first game of the season, I am going to play the 4-3-3, and I feel like this is a case of I want to get points on the board. I feel like this, as a system, it's 5 players making up your defensive unit, really, as opposed to playing a 3 at the back where, truth be told, the 3 defenders are quite isolated. They are going to get tested this year, and I think this is our best shot at doing well this season, and the one thing I don't want to do is get relegated or get sacked. So with that all said, in goal we've got Stokes, of course, for today's game. At left wing back, a position that we've not really talked about at all, it feels like, we've got Malang Sarr who's going to play there. It was a consideration when I signed him, the fact that he can play as a wing-back at Premier League level. He's such an incredibly well-rounded player, the 29-year-old. Really, only his 10 crossing lets him down. And even then, if there's one thing I've learned through years of playing Football Manager, it's that crossing doesn't really seem to matter, everyone. So we've got him there. At right wing-back, we're going to play Roger. Of course, naturally is a right-back, whilst we've taught him in the art of right defensive mid. This is his bread and butter. He's not the best player defensively, so with that in mind, playing him as a wing-back on attack, because I want him to get as far forward as possible for us. You can see at centre-back we've got Damani Grimes and Roberts. Now, unfortunately, of course, Piotr is not available for today's game. And, Damani Grimes, who didn't get too many starts last year, he's going to get an opportunity to shine this year. I'm hoping he's going to take it. Roberts comes in due to Piotr's suspension, but another player who's played a little bit at Premier League level. This isn't a completely new level to him. Hopefully he's going to do better than when he last appeared in this level, actually. 2 games he played for Brighton in 2026-27. A 6.55 average rating. That scares me a little bit. Of course, the midfield trio, I think, is actually where we shine the most. Mateus Fernandes is a great little deep line playmaker on defend. He's really, really good defensively, good passing range. Just a really complete player that I hope is going to be able to defensively do the business for us in front of our slightly lacking defence. Of course, in the kind of more mobile midfielder roles, Adrian Smith gets a chance to play his natural position, by all accounts. Of course, we've been playing him out on the left. Today, he's going to play down the middle, and he's going to play along down the middle with Owen Ricketts, £32 million. He joined us right at the end of pre-season, so I have no idea what to expect from this guy. He didn't feature in any pre-season games. Out on the right, we're going to play Seka. He can play accomplished as a right attacking mid, and whilst he is right-footed, I do feel like as an inside forward on attack, he still has a hell of a lot that he can offer us. He looks very, very good, and I'm excited to see how he gets on playing in a slightly wider position. Last year, of course, we played him as one of our wider strikers in the free striker system. He didn't really shine. Maybe he can turn things around. Out on the left, it's going to be Ryan Brewster cutting in on his right foot. Similarly to Seka, really, a player who I think, whilst he has played striker in the previous few years for us, he can definitely do the role that I want him to do within this system. And then up top, we are still with Samake, everyone. Samake did not get sold. I decided to persist with him. And we're going to be playing him as a complete forward. With this system, with the lack of a centre attacking mid, I don't want to just play with an advanced forward. I want a complete forward who's going to drop in a little bit from time to time. And also, hopefully create space for the inside forwards to move into. Now, I would love to know what you think about this tactical shift. I think this year we're going to be adapting things very much on the fly. I feel like against the big teams, I need to go a little more conventional, but certainly against the relegation rivals at home, at least to start things, we're going to go for them with 3 strikers. We're going to try and overwhelm them and just see how it goes. But what I would say about our team is it's a squad that is remarkably well adapted to shift into a lot of different formations. This is a team that if the situation came where I decided I wanted to play with a centre attacking mid, I've got a centre attacking mid who can play. If I wanted to play a 3 at the back, we can play that. If we want to play defensive wingers, we can do that too. And yeah, it's not the biggest squad in the world either. If we just look at it, our current kind of numbers is, a 25-man squad. Of course, Piotr's out. Finn, his debut is going to have to wait a little while because he's unfortunately out injured. And well, just to cast an eye to our opening start to the year, I don't like having Tottenham, Manchester United and Liverpool all together to kick things off. I think for tomorrow's episode, we might come back and do the Manchester United and Liverpool games as a double header. I expect them to be absolute pastings, but at the same time, it's kind of, our first opportunity maybe to cause a few upsets. That said, a result here away from home against Wolves certainly wouldn't go amiss. It is also worth noting that with this current lineup, if things don't work, I can really quickly change to play, the system that we played last year. You can see here, I can just shuffle some players around and hey presto, suddenly we're playing a system where all the players fulfill their roles to a pretty good standard. So whilst I have now got to move all the players back, it kind of just demonstrates how we're set up in a way whereby we can just change things quite radically if this doesn't work. But I'm hoping this is going to work. This is a relatively kind of safe system. It's a system that should serve us well, and hopefully it is going to serve us well. So let's get into this. This is our Premier League return. Of course, last time Nottingham Forest were here, I think they got 2 or 3 wins all season under Chris Hughton. That was a couple of years ago now. This is a different era. This is my Nottingham Forest, a Nottingham Forest which has been built over the last year and a half. And after a very long pre-season where I've been making a lot of decisions, lots of umming, lots of ahhing, really trying to plan things out quite methodically, we arrive here on the first day of the season hoping that we're going to get off to a flyer and get a good result to start things off. That is very much the dream here. Whether or not that works out, I suppose we'll see. As Seka whips in the ball, Grimes is there. Damani Grimes heads it just wide of the post. It is also worth noting that this season I have started to set up custom set pieces a little bit more because, frankly, I should have been doing that sooner, and I need every little advantage I can get as a newly promoted team. I would not be doing my job correctly as manager if we left things kind of set up defaultly. Anyway, Brewster, big ball up to Samake, who hits it from range, and he's going to need to do better than that, isn't he? Of course, a player who's made his name, I feel like, at championship level, Samake. Can he step up and do it in the Premier League? This year is going to be tough for him. I think if we can have 2 players hit double figures, I want to say that should be enough to keep us up. But I think back to our first season in the Premier League with last year's Park to Prem at Towlaw, which if you haven't watched that series by now, go and binge watch it. That's annoying. Ramos scores for them. But no, in that first season where we got relegated, I'm pretty sure Shvetsov was top goal scorer in the league as we got relegated. So weirder things have happened, but I do feel like this squad versus that Towlaw squad, kind of in this same first Premier League season, this squad's a lot better. That is my genuine belief. It's a young squad. We've got some really good, exciting young players coming through, and it's got quality as well. Anyway, Seka out on the right to whip it in. Grimes heads it just over the crossbar. And, well, I wouldn't like to lose the first game of the season, but given the fact it's against Wolves of all teams, it's not a game that I've come into anticipating a win. If we finish 17th this year, I would view that as a success. Anyway, ball dinked forward again for Ramos, who this time hits it mercifully wide. I'm going to get a bit shouty. Half an hour gone, demanding more from us. Just looking at their team, they've got Saul off up front, Sarr on the left. They've got Hannibal and Lorente in the midfield. That's a really good midfield duo. Also, I just want to show you this guy. This is Wolves' goalkeeper, everyone. England international, Danny Dyer. Yeah, he's not Nick. That is his actual name, Daniel Dyer. He's nuts, isn't he? He's nuts. It wouldn't be a bad goalkeeper for us to sign maybe at some point. Either way, at the break, it's 1-0 Wolves. We've not done enough there, have we really? I say all of that. They're predicted to finish 7th. So away from home against them first game of the season. Maybe 1-0 at half-time I should be happy with. But I'm not. Anyway, Roger to get the ball forward here. Seka underneath it. Dyer collects. It's probably going to take quite a special effort to beat their goalkeeper today. But, well, hopefully we're going to be up for the task as Sarr brings it forward for them. Can we defend this? Well, no, we're just going to watch him. We're just going to watch him. I think Damani Grimes there has been caught bird watching. Or should I say Sarr watching. Not a great start to the second half. Not a great start at all. We got less than 90 seconds into the second half without conceding. I don't know if the keeper could have done a little bit better there. Of course, Stokes is starting in goal for us today, but we've got options now. We've got Molyneux, who we've signed from Arsenal for £6 million. There's going to be a little bit of rotation there. I've promised them both first-team football. It's going to be a last man standing battle, I think, for who becomes our first choice attacker. Anyway, Seka through on goal. He's got to finish that. He does finish it. The South African, maybe playing him out on the right is the future. He had such a disappointing season for us last year. But I've decided to stick with him. I've decided to keep the faith with Stevie Boy. And I'll tell you what, this ball here by Smith across the pitch is delightful. Really nice finish as well. It's 2-1. We reply less than a minute after they score. Now we're up for a fight. Now we're up for a scrap. It's been a good game so far. They're playing a 4-2-3-1 with a shadow striker and inside forwards. They are showing absolutely no respect to us there. All out attack. Ball to the edge of the box. It hits the woodwork. Mateus Fernandes. It's an okay clearance, I suppose. I was a bit worried he was about to boot it into his own net, but we live to fight another day, and we will now head that ball clear. Hannibal with it. Don't let him get it into the box. Please. I've said please, so it should happen now. Whipped in. Sorloth's there. It's headed away. Seka to collect. Could we break here? Seka. I mean, you've got to give it to Samake. Samake's got to hold his line, though. Oh, my word. It was nearly a superb ball through. Steve, not going to get to the second one either, but that was not too bad from us, really. Well, we're looking competitive, everyone. And you know what? With 20 minutes left, I'm going to bring in Alex Myton for Brewster. Seka apparently is in danger of losing his discipline. Stay well behaved. I'll say now, Ricketts has not had a good game, the expensive man. But I'm not going to worry about that yet. We're going to bring in Finley Robertson. And you know what? Samake, off you come for Leighton Stewart. Now, Leighton Stewart, with the addition of Finn Arlo, is going to drop down the pecking order of strikers. But, of course, he's valuable to us as an English forward. He got double-figure goals last year. And, well, in the absence of Finn, who's away at the Olympics, this is his moment. Can he score for us? No. No, he can't. You can hear the pain in my voice. Leighton! He's only been on the pitch a matter of seconds. Just as I'm bigging it up, saying this might be one of his rare opportunities to show us what he's all about, he misses that. Leighton. I feel let down, everyone. I will say now, whilst it doesn't seem like we're going to get anything from this game, I'm quite happy with that performance. That was a pretty good one. Adrian Smith was our best performer. Seka got a goal. Defensively, we were a little bit questionable, but of course we didn't have Piotr today. He will undoubtedly just walk straight into the first team. And in a slightly bizarre way, despite losing that game, I'm quite happy. But I do feel like this 4-3-3 might be the way to go. Just based off what I saw by how Wolves lined up there, they showed no respect. They played so many attacking midfielders. Our three at the back, I think, would have been eaten alive by that. I'm sure there's a time and a place for three at the back, but I think maybe to start the year, we're better off going for something a little more basic. It's not super flashy. It does seem to get the work done, though. Piotr, are you suspended for more games? You've got 2 more matches have been... I thought it was a 1-game suspension. Piotr, why did you get a straight red in the last game of the season? So he's going to be back for the EFL second round game. No one cares about that. Just looking at the games we've got coming up, we've got West Ham and Southampton prior to that United and Liverpool game, kind of double header, which I think we have to do next time. If we just take a little peek at the season preview, this is how things look right now. We're predicted to finish 18th, ahead of Newcastle and Crystal Palace, who won the playoffs, for people wondering who won that. In terms of who from us is considered a key player, we've got Adrian Smith up there, and then Roger. They love Roger at 19 years old. He looks very, very good. Of course, it's his birthday at the end of the month. Got to get a birthday bash kind of sorted. But what I would say is, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to surpass those expectations with a young team and give plenty of players first-team opportunities. You can see here, players lining up with potential. Obviously, we've got Amlo coming into the team. Finny boy. Hopefully, he's going to be a good Finn-isher. Get it? Because his name's Finn. Either way, he returns from international duty tomorrow. I think he could be a really big game changer for us. Either-footed. He is massive as well. He's 6'4". Great work rate, great finishing. Technically very good with the ball at his feet. I'm excited to see what kind of damage he's hopefully going to be able to do for us. And he's quick. Just needs to get a bit stronger, Finn. Finn, you've got to get a bit stronger and a bit more composed and we'll be laughing. Well, whether or not he can do it, I suppose, remains to be seen. But I'm hoping he's going to be able to. And in terms of when we're going to be back, as I said, it's going to be for that double header. Liverpool and Manchester United. 2 of those games that you look forward to as a newly promoted team until about 5 minutes in when it's already 2-0 and you realise there's 85 minutes left. But either way, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. Please drop a like on it if you have enjoyed. Let me know what you make of our signings. What do you think of the tactical shift? I feel like I've gone away for 2 days and come back and gone, you know what? Maybe I need to be a bit more sensible. And based off that first game performance, I think this could be a pretty good way to be competitive this season, which ultimately is the way I want things to be. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Take care. We will be back again tomorrow with a double header. And well, until next time, I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.